So today we're going to talk about the geometric mean. So on an index card or a 3-inch by 5-inch card, you want to make this graphic organizer because you're going to be handling it a lot. It does need to be color coded, so you can pick your 3 most favorite colors. I think you can copy this URL and it goes through step by step how to make this graphic organizer instead of just showing you a picture of it. It is on my YouTube channel, and I go from start to finish on how to create the graphic organizer that we're going to be using. Okay, so you can pause it here so you can copy the graphic organizer that we're going to be using. The geometric mean is a measurement, and it's going to be taking a right triangle, and we drop an altitude down, and it splits the triangle into 3 similar right triangles. So you've got the big one, and then you've got this small one on the left and a medium one on the right. Okay, and so we are comparing the sides of these triangles to one another, and that's why we have the geometric mean. Okay, so that altitude is the mean between them. So in this case, the X would be the geometric mean. In the red one, the A is the geometric mean. And in the third one, the B is the geometric mean. So go ahead and pause here, and on a 3 by 5 index card or a 3-inch by 5-inch card, write this graphic organizer down. Okay, directions to use the card. The first thing you want to do is you want to orient the card to the problem. We want to relabel the problem to match the card. And we want to set up the appropriate proportion. Okay, that's going to be our 1, 2, or 3 on the card. And then we want to solve the proportion and simplify the answer. Okay, so here's our problem. I have a right triangle with an altitude, and I want to find x, y, and z. So I'm going to find all of these variables. Okay, I'm giving that this piece of the triangle is 6, this piece of the triangle is 4, and that's all I'm given. Okay, so now I'm going to switch views so that you can see my paper. And here's my card. So the first step was to orient the card to the problem. So my big right angle is down here at the bottom. So I am going to turn my card to match it. So I want my big right angle there as well. Okay, so I can see my variables even though they're upside down. Then I want to relabel the problem to match my card. So where we see X, I'm no longer going to call that X. I have it labeled B. Where I have labeled Z, I'm no longer going to call that Z. That's relabeled A. That matches my card. Y is no longer Y. I'm going to relabel that X to match my card. I do know what 6 is. So 6 is going to be my Z variable, so 6 is equal to Z. And 4 is my Y variable, so I'm going to make that equal to Y. C is the entire length of the triangle, which I know because I can add the 2 smaller pieces. So 6 plus 4 is 10. So now I have my problem relabeled. And now that I have it relabeled, I can turn my card right side around. And I want to look and see what I have. So I have Y and Z. And I have C. So that means I could use either 1 or 2. So I can solve for X. So if I want to find X, then I'm going to set up the proportion Y over X equals X over Z. Y is 4, based on my remarking. X is my variable. X is my variable. And then Z. Z I've labeled 6. Okay, so now I solve for X. So I'm going to cross multiply. I get 24 is equal to cross multiply x squared. And to solve for a square, we square root both sides, so square root of 24. Then I need to simplify it. Do need to simplify my radicals. We did go through a lesson on this. I included it in the playlist for Unit 6. I use the ladder method. So I'm going to create a ladder. And I always start with my smallest prime number, 2. 2 goes into 24 for 12. I can divide by 2 again. I want to divide that same number out as much as I can. If I can't divide it out anymore, I get 6. 6 is divisible by 2. Then I get 3, so I can't divide by 2 anymore. 3 is my next prime number. There's my 1, and I'm done. Now, it takes 2 of a number to make a whole one. So I have a pair of 2's that I'm going to circle because that makes a whole number. That gets to come outside of the radical. And then I have 2 and 3 left over. They're not in pairs. They can't go out of the radical, so they get multiplied together. 2 times 3 is 6. So my x variable is 2 square root of 6. Okay. Then I said I could find number 2. I could find the a. So if I can find a, oops, I wrote x for some reason. Okay, so that's going to be y over a equals a over c. Y I know is 4 over a equals a over c, which is 10. Then I'm going to solve for my proportion. I'm going to cross multiply. 40 equals a squared. Then I'm going to square root both sides. And then I'm going to simplify my radical. So 40 is divisible by 2. I get 20. 20 is divisible by 2. I get 10. 10 is divisible by 2. I get 5. And now I'm no longer able to divide by 2. My next prime number is 3. 3 doesn't go into 5. My next prime number is 5. 5 goes into 5 one time. When I get to 1, I know I'm done. I circle my pair of numbers because these are half powers, so I need 2 to make a whole number. That 2 comes outside of the radical. I have a 2 and a 5 left over. They do not have any partners, so they have to stay inside the radical, multiplied together. So 2 square root of 10 is equal to my a side. Then I need to find b. Find b. And b is z over b equals b over c. I do know what z is. Z is 6. I am trying to find b. And my c is equal to 10. So now that I've set up my proportion, I'm going to solve by cross multiplying. I get 60 is equal to b squared. To solve for the radical, I square root both sides. And again, I'm going to simplify my radical. 60 is divisible by 2, and I get 30. 30 is divisible by 2, I get 15. 15 is no longer divisible by 2. My next prime number is 3. 3 goes into 15 5 times. I cannot divide 5 by 3. My next prime number is 5. And there's my 1, and I know I'm done. Circle my pairs, because each pair represents a whole number. That gets to come outside, so I get 2 square root of. 3 and 5 do not have partners. They have to stay inside the radical, and they get multiplied back together. That gives me 15, and that's equal to b. So these are my 3 sides that I had to find for the triangle. And that's what I'm going to use as my solutions. Okay, the next example, which I also have on the Jamboard, we're going to find our missing sides. It says to find z. So I'm going to come back to my paper. I want to orient my card to match my problem. And I want to relabel So 4, that's going to equal my x variable. 6 is going to equal my a variable. Z is going to stay z. And 10 represents my c variable. So now I've oriented my card to the problem. They're in the same orientation. I've relabeled the problem to match my card. So 6 represents my A. X is represented by the 4. Z is the one I'm trying to find. And then the 10 here, that's my C. So now I can take my card. And I want to find Z. So if I look for Z, Z appears in the first proportion. So I need Y and X. Okay, well I do have X, but I don't have Y. That means I need to see if I can find Y. So let me look at Y. Okay, well I know I can't use it here because I don't have Z. Let's see, do I have, here's Y again. Do I have A and C? Yes, I have A and C. So in order to find Y, so I can find Z, I'm going to set up my red problem. Y over A equals A over C. That's going to give me Y over 6 equals 6 over 10. I'm going to cross multiply. Move it up here. I get 10y equals, cross multiply, 36. And then I'm going to divide by 10 to solve for y. This is no longer squared. And y is going to equal 3.6. Okay, so now I know y equals 3.6. And I could do one of two things. I can go back and substitute y in the first one and solve my proportion again. Or I can notice that I already have 2 of the 3 parts. So I know that 3.6 plus z equal the 10. And I can subtract 3.6 from both sides. And my z is equal to 6.4. And this is a demonstration on how to use the geometric mean. You are using your graphic organizer to help orient and set up the problem.